this is beautiful. This water is so clear. This is a tropical paradise. I have to be careful though. Ooh, this coral is a little bit... that hurts. It feels like I'm being hit with a hammer. Listeners, I was using my imagination. I wasn't really hurt, but I did that. I added some sound effects, and then there we have it. We could do the same thing, but put in a different song and maybe some different sound effects and get a very different feel. Listen to this. Ooh, this is beautiful. This water is so clear. This is a tropical paradise. I have to be careful though. Ooh, this coral is a little bit... that hurts. It feels like I'm being hit with a hammer. It changes the feel of things, doesn't it? Alright, so with our imagination, what do you think hurt me in my imaginary scenario? Let's go through where I was and what was happening. So first of all, I was in the tropics. It was warm. I was walking along the coral reef. So I was obviously at the ocean. I was in a warm place. I was also walking along the bottom area. The bottom is benthic. So there was something in the benthic area of the ocean that got me. I didn't see anything swimming. It was not pelagic. Pelagic means open ocean. So that eliminates sharks, hyenas, dogs, giraffes. Obviously those are not in the open ocean, but sharks are. No pelagic animals. This was a benthic creature. Do you know what it is? Let me give you some facts about this animal and see if you can begin to guess more. This animal is the most venomous fish in the world. There's a hint. It's a fish and it has venom. I didn't really step on one, but if I had, I would have felt excruciating pain. Let me read to you something from ABC News in an article called Mother Nature's Kings of Pain. Someone who's experienced the pain describes it like this. I'm quoting here. I got spiked on the finger by a stonefish in Australia. There's the animal, it's a stonefish. And then it goes on. Never mind a bee sting. Imagine having each knuckle, then the wrist, elbow, and shoulder being hit in turn with a sledgehammer over the course of about an hour. Then, about an hour later, imagine taking a real kicking to both kidneys for about 45 minutes so that you couldn't stand or straighten up.
Take that! Yeah! 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 Yes! Yeah! Take that! Take this! Ugh!
The person who wrote this says, I was in my late 20s, pretty fit physically, and this was the tiniest of nicks from the fish. I got sensation back in my finger after a few days, but had recurrent kidney pains periodically for several years afterwards. End quote. Wow, that sounds painful. So the stonefish is extremely painful, the most venomous fish in the world. The venom comes from their spines. They have 13 spines along their backs, and that delivers the toxin. And that's what happens. Someone might be stepping along the coral reef, they might not see the fish, and then they step on it, and even if they get a tiny nick, well, you heard what the pain is like. Very severe. Their venom, however, is for self-defense, not hunting. They hunt by sitting completely still on the ocean floor, the benthic realm, and wait for prey to pass. One reason someone might not see them is because they are camouflage. Their name, Stonefish, describes the way they look. They look like pieces of coral or stone. They're not really the most glamorous fish, let's be honest. They're stone-looking. They're neat, though. They have a rough, kind of coarse texture to their skin, and depending on where they live, the color matches their surroundings. They could be brown, yellow, orange, or even red, and that, combined with the textured surface of their skin, makes them look extremely camouflaged. While they're sitting still, though, if they see a fish or something that they're going to eat, like a taco, they are lightning quick, and in 0.015 seconds can ambush their prey. These fish sound very similar to lionfish. If lionfish don't sit motionless, they're not necessarily on the bottom, but they look a lot like stonefish. They also have spines. They are venomous. You don't want to touch any of their spines either. Interestingly, stonefish and lionfish are related. They belong to an order called Scorpaeniformes that includes both stonefish and lionfish. Even though they're very venomous and there are a lot of stings, there aren't that many deaths. People can die from them, but there are not very many, thankfully. It might seem like stonefish are at the top of their little niche in their habitats. Nothing can get to them, but that's not so. They are hunted by sea snakes. It's thought that perhaps sea snakes are immune to their venom. It's not confirmed. But the sea snake injects venom into the stonefish with its bite, and then waits for the stonefish to stop struggling, and then it swallows it whole. Now, how they eat them is by eating them head first, because if they ate tail first, they would get 13 spines gouging their mouths. That would not be pleasant. Back to the stonefish, at least the ones that are alive. They can survive out of water for a full day, 24 hours. That's unusual for a fish. That's because they can absorb oxygen through their skin. Stonefish are an unusual fish. The fact that they can survive out of water for so long, they have spines so venomous, so painful, camouflaged, quick, motionless. You put the whole thing together and it's a fairly unusual fish. Most fish have to swim to keep going. Sure, fish in general can be camouflaged, but stonefish are fascinating. They remind me about life. You can go through life and without being careful, easily get into situations that are nasty and difficult to recover from. A lot like stepping on a stonefish. That you will feel immediately. You will recognize the consequence of not realizing that there was a stonefish, stepping on it, and feel that pain immediately. In life, however, often the painful consequences don't come on until later. Sometimes it takes days, weeks, months, or years. If you've had an emotionally painful experience in your life, whether it was your fault or not, I would encourage you to journal about it. Write out how you feel. Talk it through with a safe adult. And try to think about what you've learned from that experience. When we realize that we can learn from our experiences, from our mistakes or the mistakes of others, it's empowering. If we stay stuck and think, oh, this was just a painful experience, it was bad, I wish it hadn't happened, well, in a way, then we're just kind of stuck, a little bit like a stonefish at the bottom of the sea. However, if we think, how can I learn? Then we're empowered, and we're no longer stuck in the pain. It doesn't mean the pain all goes away, but at least we can learn from it. Rush, this episode has been for you. Now, it's time for our mystery sound, which is a clue to an upcoming episode. Here to help us with the mystery sound is Emma. Emma, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, listeners, including Emma, here is the mystery sound. Emma, what does that sound like to you?
A black bear.
You think it sounds like a black bear?
Yes.
What makes you think it sounds like a black bear?
Because I know black bears, they kind of like whine.
Whine? Thank you, Emma, for joining us.
You're welcome.
What do you think, listeners? What will the next episode be about? I would like to thank the following individuals for supporting the podcast on Patreon. And listeners, if you're not already supporting, you are welcome to go to patreon.com or check out moosejawmat.com, and there's information there about how to support. I would like to thank Kristen, Sophia, James, Fitz, Isa, Sam, and Thomas. Thank you all for supporting. And listeners, thank you for joining me here on this episode. I'm Moosejaw Matt. Until next time, keep exploring your amazing world. Thank you, Emma, for joining us.
Was I right?
Say you're welcome.
You're welcome.